Where are you in your medical school journey right now?
I'm 32 years old and I started medical school a long time ago. And after I failed my exam, I took a break and I had a kid and I got married.
Yeah, congrats.
And then I went back to school and I just started back. So I started in January of 2018 and I should have graduated a long time ago. But I took a break. And during that time, I had a son and I was working and trying to study. And I also got a master's in healthcare administration because I'm really passionate about healthcare. Right now, I'm preparing to take USMLE Step 1. I'm doing a clinical integrated program with my school in Portland, Maine. And we're working at hospitals and we're doing a lot of standardized patient evaluations and a lot of USMLE prep. So it's a lot of work. But after this part of the USMLE Step 1 prep, I'll start my clinical rotations probably September. I wanted to go to medical school because I know that I can make a big difference in this field and I know how to communicate with people from the Black community. I know how to communicate with people in general, but that's the most important thing for me.
Okay, that is so exciting. Tell us the name of your medical school and tell us more about it.
I am currently a student at a Caribbean medical school called the University of Medicine and Health Sciences. It's located in Saint Kitts and Nevis in the West Indies. And I found the school because I was at a medical school expo at my college. I really liked that they had smaller class sizes and they had a hands-on approach and they cared about their students and their students' well-being and teaching students to have relationships with their professors, like professional relationships to guide you through the process of medical school. And especially since I was a first generation college student, that was really significant for me because along the way, my professors have been one of my biggest support systems because they understand the journey that I'm going through and they understand what's necessary. And sometimes going down the track of medicine, especially when you're a first generation college student, you experience imposter syndrome and it's really hard. And you have to be confident in yourself and your abilities throughout this process if you're going to be successful, because half the battle is knowing that, okay, I can show up, I can do what everybody else is doing as well. So I had a really good opportunity to go to St. Kitts. It's a really beautiful island and talk to my professors and a counselor on campus. I was able to talk and work through some of my personal issues that were hindering my professional development. In a nutshell, UMHS is a school in St. Kitts. It was founded by George Ross, and his father was the founder of Ross University, which is another very prominent Caribbean medical school. And that made me feel comfortable going there. And I'm glad that I made that decision because they have been supporting me along the way of my step one journey because it was not a walk in the park. To get back to the community in St. Kitts, we did a lot of mission trips to other countries, and we also did a lot of community engagement type seminars where we did free diabetic testing, free HIV testing, free blood pressure checking every week. Just to
Wow.
help the local population to maintain whatever chronic medical conditions that they had.
So you mentioned being a first generation college student, and that might be confusing to some people watching this video. They're like, but Kaneisha's your cousin and she's got 2 degrees from Harvard. But when we say first generation college student, we mean because your parents did not go to college. And then also wish your granny and grandpa, and they didn't graduate from college. I think this is a good time to just share all the stats that the people watching this video at 2 a.m. wondering if they can go to medical school, even though their GPA is not perfect, or even though they have a low MCAT score, they're watching this in bed, 2 a.m. And so whatever stats you can give them would be helpful.
Okay, so first of all, with the 2 a.m. people, I'm one of those that's on Reddit scrolling. Is this possible? Can I do it? What are some ways that I can do it? Maybe I start with my grandparents. My grandma, my grandpa raised me. My dad passed away before I was born, and my mom was young. She had a teen pregnancy. She kept me for a little while, and then my grandmother stepped in and told my other grandmother that my mom was having issues taking care of me. So my other grandmother ended up taking custody of me. And she also had custody of my older brother, and she raised us from there. Three of my other cousins, my grandmother had to take them in as well because they had other adverse experiences in their life. And she adopted all of us. I went to Florida A&M University, where I majored in biology, pre-medicine. At FAMU, I kind of struggled because I didn't really know what to do to get myself prepared to do medical school besides the MCAT. I did volunteer and I did community events because that's one of my favorite pastimes. At FAMU, I learned a lot because I was transitioning from living with my grandma. And when you're living with your parents, they're telling you when to wake up, where to go, what time to be there. And then I'm on my own and I have to be more independent. So I grew a lot as a person and I learned independence. And in that journey, I also learned a lot about myself. I was able to graduate from FAMU, but I did graduate a year later than I was supposed to. Instead of 2015, I graduated in 2016. And that was because some of my classes had to be pushed back. And then I was able to finish successfully. My GPA was a 3.2. I joined some outreach programs at the Florida State College of Medicine after I graduated from FAMU to do some extra science classes to boost my science GPA. One of the programs is called MAPS, Minority Association of Pre-Med Students. And another one was USTRAD. We did a lot of outreach at middle schools, elementary schools, and high schools to teach little kids science. I was teaching biology at a middle school called Fairview Middle School. And I really enjoyed that because I'm a good communicator. So I was able to relay the concepts of anatomy and biology to the kids in a way that they could pick it up and that they thought was interesting and fun. That's one part that I really enjoyed about it. We were assigned a student that's in medical school as a mentor, just someone to give you a little bit of perspective on what medical school is like and what's required. And we also got to do a lot of clinical stuff. They helped me get a certification as a medical assistant and also as a phlebotomist. So, and it was free. And then I did also a Kaplan course to help me prepare for MCAT. I'm doing a Kaplan course right now to prepare for USMLE. It was a really good program and it really helped me to boost my GPA and hone in on what exactly I wanted to do. And if medicine was still a track that I wanted to follow, because for me, it was going to be a lot of work and they had a similar expo. And so the same school, the University of Medicine and Health Sciences that I saw at my Florida A&M school, I saw it at Florida State. So then I was like, I like this school. So then I spoke to my advisor. Then I started at the Art of Applying.
I would love for you to rewind all the way back to the beginning of your medical school journey. What were the doubts and fears that you had?
Doubts and fears. Fear of leaving my family behind, going to another country and living there. I was afraid and I was thinking, like, what if I'm not capable? What if I fail? What if I don't make it? Who am I? Why am I so special that I could be a doctor? Or why am I so special that I could go to medical school? But there's always that little flame inside of me that just doesn't give up. So that's one thing that I really like about myself, that I just don't give up. I just keep trying and I just keep finding a way to make what I want a reality. That's the key, not giving up. But to say what I was thinking, that's what I was thinking. What if I fail? What if I'm not cut out for this? It was just a lot of what ifs and insecurities that kind of mended over time.
Understood. Oh, I love that. That mended over time.
At that time, I had some issues that I was dealing with, and I didn't really know it.
You didn't really know it. I have a very clear memory of me, you, my sister, our cousins. We're all at the beach. We're hardcore beach people. So we had been there for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And just chilling, having a great time. And you were telling me how much you were struggling with whatever that test was.
Oh, yes. This is the USMLE exam at my school. Before you can take the USMLE exam, you have to pass a comp exam and you have to have a certain percentage on the comp exam. So I did perfectly fine on those. I passed it. So I was able to register for step 1 and then get the certification that I needed to take the exam. Since I'm going to international medical school, you have to do something called the ECFMG certification. So in order to get the ECFMG certification, your school has to sign up and say, hey, she's met all the competencies that are necessary to sit for this exam and work towards going to become a doctor, because there's 3 board exams that you have to take to become a doctor. You have to do your USMLE step 1, 2, and 3, and then that kind of helps to determine what kind of doctor you'll be, where you'll be working, and you have to reapply for residency. I passed the comp exam, so I was excited and I was doing my practice questions routinely. And then I took the exam and I failed it.
You failed it. So what does failing it look like? What does that mean to fail
By the time that I took it, it was pass fail, so you can't really see the score. It just tells you if you passed or if you failed, and then which subjects you passed or which subjects you failed.
It was summer 2021. We're 5 hours on the beach. You're telling us how you failed your exam, but you also were telling us how many hours you were studying. You were studying so many hours. And I had just very recently been diagnosed with ADHD combined type. And I'm like, Johneesia, I think you might have ADHD. I listed some symptoms and you were like, well, doesn't everybody kind of have those symptoms? But then you said something hilarious to me, which was, my doctor did prescribe me some Adderall, but I don't take it. So when did you identify with maybe I do have this?
It was actually before you told me. For me, it was something that I pushed it to the back of my mind. I was like, I don't have ADHD. There's nothing wrong with me. Maybe I should work harder. Maybe I should do more questions. Maybe I should study longer. Maybe that will help me. That did not help. I'm studying all these hours and I'm stressing out so much and I'm really trying my hardest to be successful and it just wasn't working. And then I was like, something is wrong. I don't know what it is. And I just remember feeling so helpless, but I'm not the kind of person that just takes problems laying down. I just take it to the chin and I try to learn whatever I can learn from it and move forward and try to make my life better as I go along with the growth that I've gained. This was a problem that I was struggling to grow from. I was like, I don't know what's wrong. After I failed my test, I was like, I don't even know what's wrong. At first, I was thinking maybe it's test anxiety, but then I was like, no, I don't really think so. I struggled with being consistent, knowing how I learn as a person. So it's been a problem that's been there for a long time, but at this point, I think everything that happened thus far started to snowball. I was telling my doctor about what I was experiencing, and he was like, I think you might have ADHD. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't want to have ADHD. I'm not accepting that, as a lot of people do. It started to take a toll on my life. I just started to feel really sad and really depressed. And then when we made it to that beach on that day, and you were telling me, I was thinking about it, and you were telling me about your experiences. And I was thinking like, okay, then if she did it, then maybe I can just at least give it a try and at least try to get it reevaluated to see if it's something that's real, to see if it's something that's true. So then I did. And then it was actually obviously real and true. I'm not a medicine person and it's weird because I'm working to be a doctor, but it's one of those things that I had to become compliant with and change my lifestyle and try to change my diet so that everything can work out with the medication. I was talking to also one of my friends. She told me about ADHD coaching. So then I got an ADHD coach. I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, what? A coach for ADHD? I thought you were just gonna have ADHD and then people be like, oh, she got ADHD. I went to the coach and I learned so many things about ADHD and I didn't know. And a lot of stuff in my personality, she was like, do you feel like this? Do you feel like that? And I was like, oh my God, it's like you're reading my mind. Like, how do you know that? I didn't say that. She's like, because that's some of the signs. As a neurodivergent brain, that's the way you look at things. That's the way you perceive it. That's how our brains are wired because my ADHD coach also has ADHD. And it's not a success death sentence. It's something that you just have to know how to work through. And so a lot of my issues with that exam was not knowing how to work through problems. Yes, I was taking the exam and getting whatever results and feeling how I was feeling. But when it came to the test day and actually working on the exam, I had to work through the problems and I'm stressed out, I'm anxious. And then I got this cloud over my head. As I learned to work with my ADHD, then that's when I started to become way more successful.
Oh, fantastic. So then do you still take the medication and the coaching or just the coaching?
Since I've been doing this program full time, I do the medication and I do coaching. I don't want to put myself at a disadvantage or say, what if I could have, I should have. I just want to take the opportunity seriously.
Absolutely. The way I describe to people who are hesitant to take a medication or who are hesitant to seek out testing accommodations is they're not an unfair advantage. They are there to help level the playing field so that you are on an equal level and able to demonstrate your abilities. Having accommodations for a test or in a certain class due to us having a neurodevelopmental disability is not cheating. It's not some unfair advantage. It's bringing us from -10 and having to compete with everybody to back to the 0 where everybody else is, or closer. We might still be like -4, but like at least closer to the starting line. I do take medication. I take it every day. I'll skip days for fun, but in general, I take it every day because I have ADHD every day. Yeah, I don't go to work every day, but I still face frustrations. I still need to drive and pay attention. I still need to cook and not walk away from a stove that has a fire going and go walk away and oops, now I'm on my phone for 40 minutes in the other room because oops, I forgot I was cooking. Those things, they don't have anything to do with homework or work, but they're very important for my and other people's safety. So I do take my medicine for the most part every day. I used to have an ADHD coach, but she fired me. She said I graduated and now we're just friends. So we're good friends now. And we meet every other week to support each other. So I was paying her for a year and then she graduated me. And then I have an ADHD therapist. My health insurance covers most of the visits. So I only pay $30 every time I see her, which is amazing. And we've been together for years. It was very wonderful and helpful for me that my ADHD therapist is a Black woman. I really enjoyed that. And I believe your ADHD coach is a Black woman. Yeah. And I do think, if possible, if you're a person of color, that it be a person of color or of your culture, or if you're a queer person, that the person is queer. Why? Because we already experience so much masking in our daily life where we're putting on a brave face to be like, I have it together. I'm not late, but I'm an hour early. I'm doing just fine. But your eyes are this big because you're struggling. And so we're already spending so much of our life, years, decades of our life, putting on a brave face, doing our best to feel like we're okay and looking around like, is everyone else as stressed as I am, or is it just me? And so for me, with having a Black woman, I can just take the mask off and fall apart. I remember I cried so hard in my first few sessions with my Black therapist, and I didn't even know those tears were inside of me. I didn't even know I had all those feelings inside of me. And I didn't realize that with my white therapist that I liked a lot and had for years, that there was a part of me that was still showing up almost like it's a work meeting. I was vulnerable, I was honest, but there's a unspoken understanding when you're a Black woman and it's another Black woman. So now I just have my Black woman ADHD therapist. And then for my medication management, I was doing it with my Black woman primary care doctor, but I wanted someone who their main thing was understanding the medicine. So then I moved over to a Black woman psychiatrist, and I ended up having a very positive experience with that. Unfortunately, she is moving to a hospital setting, so I won't be able to continue working with her, but it was awesome having a Black woman primary care doctor, a Black woman ADHD therapist, a Black woman psychiatrist. My ADHD coach is a white woman. All that is to say is it's so important to have a strong support group of people who understand and who are professionally trained. No shade to the influencers and TikTokers who are speaking out about ADHD. I appreciate the work they do. And it's important to work with someone who has some training, certifications, and experience besides just, I have ADHD and I can help you too.
What I would like to add is there's a whole world of ADHD that I did not know about. Talking to my ADHD coach, she always tells me about different resources to help me have a different perspective, or at least see someone else's perspective. They have whole ADHD conferences. Once you get ADHD, you have on these ADHD goggles. So if you know someone, you're like, ooh, used to be me. When I found out that I had ADHD, I was so happy and so relieved, because now I can move forward with my life. Now I know what is wrong with me. Now I know how to move forward. Now I know what's the best way for me to study. What's the best way for me to look at this test question? What's the best way to get this information into my brain besides brute force? Or my learning style was very integrated because I used every single learning style. I've done kinesthetic learning, I've done memory, I've done all the learning styles because, as you said, we do a lot of masking with ADHD. So I have been able to jump through audio learning, visual learning, kinesthetic learning, just because I need to get this concept in my brain. I don't know how, but I'm going to find a way to do it. And I didn't realize that until I went to my ADHD coach. And then she was telling me, okay, we did this survey about learning styles. Your scores are a little different because you're almost equal in every learning style. And she was like, oh, I've never seen that before. And she said that just means that you're trying to be resourceful and learn how you learn. And doing ADHD coaching really helped me to be transparent and be able to express myself in a way that others can understand. So I failed the exam, but that was the best thing to ever happen to me. And that day at the beach as well, because you were the person that brought it to the light. Hey, you don't think maybe something's going on? I think you have ADHD. And in my brain, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me. And things have literally turned around.
That's beautiful. Oh, I love hearing that. And things have really turned around for me too since my diagnosis. It's some ups and downs, but in general, life is so much better. Thank you for sharing that.
And so I'm in Portland, Maine. Not right now, I'm in Florida, but I'm going to school in Portland, Maine. And we also have a student success advisor. He's very supportive and he really helps me to work through whatever I need to work through to be successful at what is required of me in the program. So I'm really happy with that. A lot of the stuff that I learned when I was at the Art of Applying, getting
As a client,
tutoring,
yes.
working with my success coach,
Your
a
consultant.
lot of those techniques that I learned, I still apply those today. And I use those to help me be successful and help me to, okay, how can I navigate this? Because in medical school, it's the volume of information that you're required to take in over a short period of time. So you got to learn everything about the heart in 1 week and be an expert. So there's that. You do learn about it in the basic sciences part of your degree, but it's just the foundation. Then when you have to start practicing it, it's a different story. I've been able to use a lot of the studying skills that I learned from my success coach at the Art of Applying to apply them to how I study now. And that's how I was able to jump through different learning strategies because that's what I did. The person that I worked with me and talked to me and wanted to see how I learn. Who am I as a person? What's the best way for me to get information? And then he had his personal expertise in what works. And then he told me what to do and I did it.
And so now I want you to give some advice and encouragement for the 2 a.m. people who are feeling like, maybe I'm too old. I took 5-6 years to graduate from college. My GPA isn't that great. I don't know people who've been to medical school. I don't know. Can I do it? Give some advice and encouragement to the 2 a.m. people.
Okay, so all that stuff that I was saying about how I felt negatively towards my process is all static. It's all noise. It's blah, blah, blah. That's how you should view it. You should not let that internalize and become the main voice that speaks to you in your mind. I think that you don't fail until you quit. And when one way doesn't work, you have to find another way. And I really believe that life is about learning and growing. And that's how you become successful. It doesn't matter if you fail 30 times. Because when you become a doctor or when you become a lawyer, no one's going to say, how many times did you take the bar? How many times did you fail? What was your score on that exam? They're worried about their health. They're worried about their case. And are you going to be able to thoroughly do whatever job is expected of you? Just because you fail or just because you fall doesn't mean it's the end. It's just a fall. Use whatever resources you have around to help you get up and start walking again. I heard this quote, and the quote was, if you fall flat on your back so that you can look up and get up. And that's what you have to do. You have to continue to try and you have to believe in you. Sometimes people can't see what your dream is. Only you can see what your dream is. And only you can feel the passion that's associated with that dream. So just keep looking up and trying to get up. And it doesn't matter if you fall 30 times. All you need is one time to get up. When I applied to residency programs, I failed the exam. So maybe some people might not want me in that program. Another thing that I think is really encouraging is I believe personally that in this life, I can't lose any opportunities because I can't get any opportunities that work for me. So if they say no, maybe that's not the door I was supposed to go through. Maybe that's just God or the universe, whatever you believe in, just guiding your path to wherever you're supposed to be. Sometimes we view closed doors as negative experiences, but sometimes it's just directing your path. Like the wind blows. And it blows the trees to the left and blows it to the right because it's just directing the path. So just believe in yourself and know that you can do whatever you put your mind to. Because from the day you're born to the day you die is a space in between that we call life. And in life, you have to grow. You have to learn. Well, you don't have to. It's best to learn. It's best to grow. And it's best to have those experiences and those memories of, wow, I really worked hard. Wow, I really grew. I really attained my dream. And that's honestly how I feel. That's how I've been feeling every day. And I was talking to my husband about it. Like I tried so hard I tried so hard. I used to cry every day because I was like, why is this not working for me? After I failed the test, I was like, why is this not working for me? I was working, helping, taking care of my grandparents and my son. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I didn't fail because I didn't quit. So I got to the point now, and it's just like everything is a complete 180. It's totally opposite. Like, I'm surprised because before I did pass everything, but it would only be like up on the pass mark or a couple marks above. But now when we do our assessments, I get 100 or I get way above the average because now I know what was standing in my way, how I needed to grow. Work for yourself. We put a lot of our trust and our hopes into other people when you need to put it into yourself. So if I had to boil it down to three things, don't quit, pour into yourself. If something's wrong with you, be honest with yourself about it and just grow from it. The last one will be to have fun. Find some way on your journey to have fun and find a way to have fun and learn from your mistakes. It's not always gloom and doom. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. So just keep going.
Oh, beautifully said. Brava. That was amazing. And Johneesia, I hope you know that I love you and that I and the whole family, we are so proud of you.
Before we conclude, I do feel like I should say this because it's going to happen. My goal is I want to work as an emergency medicine physician because I can do a lot of different things from that point, but I do want to do something or a double fellowship. However, I want to get to the point of being a trauma surgeon and I want to do emergency medicine. So I'm saying that because it's a positive affirmation for what I'm going to do. And when I become a trauma surgeon and an emergency medicine physician, I'll be back and
You'll
I'll be
be
talking
back and
about
we'll
my
do
job.
another interview.
Yeah.
I love that. Put it out there. I believe 100% you're going to do it. And I'm also glad that you shared that because that also helps other people understand where you're headed on your journey. Everything you shared was so helpful. I know the 2 a.m. people are going to appreciate it, and you've made my morning. I'm so proud of you. You have really persisted through, as you said, a lot of adverse life circumstances and experiences and really come out on the other side of those experiences, having learned so much and probably experienced many things that will help you relate even better to your team, to your patients, and to the broader world. I have no doubt that however far you want to take it with your Master's of Healthcare Administration and with your medical degree and with your trauma surgeon career, to the moon, to the moon. So thank you, Johneesia.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Are you ready to take your application process to the next level? The Art of Applying helps you get into the graduate school of your dreams and get money to pay for it. Book a free quick call from the link in the description to get started. And subscribe to our channel for more application tips and success stories.